Hey Velociraptors, me again, another video coming at you for the week. This is gonna be an interesting one. I didn't really have a plan for this week's video, so this one's gonna be a little bit different because I know I gave an option for you guys a little while ago, I believe, if you guys wanted to do a nerd talk. Then there was a boot thing that I did not too long ago. But this one I wanted to just do because I wanted to kind of talk about myself a little bit more, give you guys a little bit more inspiration, because I haven't made a real inspirational video in a minute. So I'm going to be making this one to give you insight on my life and inspire you guys just a little bit. To be honest, I'm not even sure you guys really care if I actually talk about this or not. Only one way to find out, and that's to actually talk about this. So with that being said, this is that video. And that video is how I became God and what started it all. So this is going to be a little bit more of a serious topic. I don't do many serious topics, and it's been a while since you guys see me do one, but I mean, why not do it now? So how it started was, I believe I was 17, 16 years old. We had just moved from the previous place in California to Texas in Corpus Christi. I had gone to my very first anime convention, and I had just got to cosplay for the very first time. At the time, I didn't know about the 3-day thing, and it was just for me, just Saturday and Sunday was the days that I went because I still had school on Fridays and I didn't want to go because at the age of 16, I wasn't going to the raves or anything like that. I was just going during the day and then leaving during the night at like 9 o'clock. With that being said, all I did was just go Saturday and Sunday. So later on, after the convention, I saw a lot of people who were dressed up in, they weren't cosplaying, but they were in goth gear. And that sparked my interest. I wanted to know why they dressed that way and what made them dress that way. I had seen Death Note, L, and other characters that had the goth aesthetic from animes, of course, being that I watched anime and still do. But why were they different? Why did they dress that way? I loved the creepy factor. Ever since I was a child, my mom can vouch for it. I enjoyed creepier toys, scarier toys, things like that. I loved the villain, the monsters, and things like that. My mom introduced me to horror films, so anything creepy, scary, dark, things like that, I fell in love with really fast. The only thing that I have to say when I first saw them was, why were they different? And it wasn't a why like how come, it was like, what made you that way? How did it start? Curiosity was what I had, not judgment, but pure curiosity. So from there, I looked it up because I had access to the internet, of course. I didn't have a cell phone because, especially at the time, I didn't have any friends, so there was really no point. I did have a computer, which I used to go onto YouTube, and most of the time I was just on like Anime That, Anime Flickr, and something else, I don't remember what it was. Oh, DeviantArt, of course, was another one that I was always on. But I decided that I wanted to look up what that was, and a lot of people said it was goth. And from there, I found the music, and from the very first real goth band I listened to was The Cure. Just Like Heaven was the very first song that I fell in love with. And then I looked up the people who sang, and I was blown away because they looked exactly like the people I had seen at the convention. So that's how I put 2 and 2 together without being dumb and said, this is what goth is. So I decided that I wanted to dress that way, but I know there was no way that my parents were going to allow me to dress that way. Especially with the mindset that I had lived in California, that African American people, or even Hispanic people, which I am, I'm Mexican and black, I've told you guys this 1,000 times, are supposed to be a certain way. And I was believing that African American people or Latino people can't be, goth or alternative in any way. So after a little bit of time, this was when I was 16, so this was almost 10 years ago. This was 2009 at the time, I believe, or it was going to be 2010. It was already 2010, actually. Yeah, it was 2010. So at that time, Linkin Park was still decently popular, and I had found Disturbed before we had left. So I was about 14 years old when I had found Disturbed, Linkin Park, Yellow Card, Blink-182, Sum 41, and basically all these other bands. So after I found all of them, I wasn't able to differentiate between what was metal, what was alternative rock, what was hard rock, and what was goth rock, what was goth music. So I was unable to find out what they really were. So with the lack of knowledge and the belief that I had that I could not be goth, I decided that I was going to try and do it my way. And that way was not right. So I was not goth. Even though I identified as goth for the longest time, by the time I had actually found out what it was, I found out that I was not goth at the time. So I was about 17 years old when I started going into the alternative style. Like I had said in one of my previous videos, I don't remember which one it was, I had started working at the age of 17 and I had the money to buy clothes like this that I wanted, and nobody could tell me no because it was my money that I was spending. That's what the belief that my mom told me, is that with responsibility or a job came freedom. So with that freedom, I started buying clothes that I wanted to wear, such as the boots that I showed you guys in the previous video of the Ammonia Reaper 30s, which I still wear to this day. Before then, I did not have really an idea of what goth really meant. So I was dressing and listening to not only listening to the wrong music and dressing incorrectly, by the way, but I was also just not identifying well with what actually was supposed to be goth. I was what a lot of people would consider the definition and the poster boy of emo. So I was not goth at all. I was listening to Black Veil Brides, Asking Alexandria, Falling in Reverse, Pierce the Veil, and Sleeping with Sirens. So at the time, I was not really goth, nor was I listening to goth music. I was just listening to what was popular at Hot Topic. I did not know what was what. So I decided that I was going to just do my thing, and I dressed in Black Veil Bride band tees. I didn't wear eyeliner, I wore sunglasses, I wore skinny jeans, I wore Converse and Vans, and then the boots came later. I didn't have the hair that I do now to be able to do the straight hair thing. So instead I was doing I would fake it, I would just put an eye patch on and fake like I had bangs and things like that. Then after some time, I actually met real goth people, and they were telling me how wrong that actually was. I stopped wearing that after some time, and basically I was wearing a top hat. I had gone completely Victorian goth for a long time. I was wearing dress shirts, I was wearing the boots, and I was wearing my hair down in my curls that you guys are so familiar with. I started wearing eyeliner, and I started trying to find out what it really meant to be goth. Because I had found those people, I was able to find what I wanted to be. So many people were telling me that that's what I was, but in actuality, I hadn't reached where I wanted to be. If I hadn't found those people, I probably would still be in that same state of being an emo, or definition of the emo style, music, and art, to being the goth I am. I'd still be stuck where I was before because nobody really had knowledge, especially where I was living, of what it meant to be goth. So I found these people, and they were helping me progress into what I wanted to be. At the age of 18, I had finally become, I think it was 19, I'd actually become completely goth. I had met so many people who had helped me along the way. They had shown me bands such as Baja, The Cure, Furfang, Alien Sex Pistols. I keep thinking it's 69 Eyes, Alien Sex Fiends, and things like that. I keep getting them all confused. But at the time, I didn't know so many goth bands existed. But after finding them, even him was really good for me. So I finally started listening to the music, but I didn't listen to the music. When I say I listened to the music, I actually listened to the music. I listened to the lyrics and compared them to what I was listening to before. They were completely different. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being the way that I was before. That's not what I wanted to be. So with the help, I got to the position and the place that I wanted to be. And along the way, of course, I did run into a lot of turmoil, hearing that I'm not supposed to be goth because I am black, and I'm not supposed to be alternative because I'm Mexican, or I can't be that way because my skin tone's too dark, and things like that. I did hear that a good bit. I didn't know really how to react to most of the things that I heard. A lot of the times I wanted to give up and just start being the old way that I was before, which was wearing oversized t-shirts and pants that I needed a belt for all the time. So I needed to change that, and I didn't like that, and it wasn't the style that I wanted. So I changed it up, and I became who I wanted to be. And with that, I guess you could say that I got a lot happier because I felt more free to be the person I had been trying to be for a long time. Because of that freedom, I felt like more people should be allowed to have that freedom. which is why I went into social work. Most people believe that being a social worker is a lot of a sacrifice, but I feel like if you are strong enough to stand up for more than just yourself, have the strength to stand up for others, along with helping them stand up with others themselves, then you can be a social worker. You can be a person that helps other people. That's what I wanted to do. With that freedom that I gained, I was able to find happiness, and I want other people to find a similar freedom for themselves so that they can also find either happiness in themselves or find happiness along the way. That's what I genuinely believe I was put on this earth to do, was to help people find that pathway to find their happiness the same way I was able to find mine. Sometimes you need a little bit of help to be able to make it through more than just a hard time, but to be able to find where your happiness is supposed to be and where it lays. A lot of people believe that you can basically push people to be in the right direction, but sometimes you need a little bit of guidance rather than a push. That was how I became Goth, guys. I basically did not know I was going in the wrong direction until I got older. And then I just been progressing and progressing until I found out what it really meant to be Goth, and that's to accept the good and the bad. A lot of people accept the light and want to ignore that the bad parts of the world are there. Every person has good and every person has bad. They like to show the good on the outside but hide the bad on the inside. I do it the reverse. I show the good by my actions, but then the bad comes out in your style. Your darkness does not necessarily mean evil. The darkness can sometimes just mean mysteriousness. Hiding something does not always mean it is bad. But that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and this is how I became Goth and how I found out that I was doing it completely wrong. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. If you guys need any kind of help, like I said, don't be afraid to message me. My inbox is usually very full, but I promise you guys, I will always respond to you. It might not be as fast as a lot of other people would, like a friend would message a friend, they would respond, but I promise you, your problems are important to me, and I will do everything I can to help you guys out. With that being said, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week, and just be nice to each other. Help each other out and find this position that you guys want to be in. Y'all take it easy.